produces quite a good distorted sound. Let me show you how I'm getting that. First thing I did was I turned the treble, middle, and bass controls all the way up to 10. That's basically on the premise that more is better. Okay? When you want to overdrive the amp, what you're doing is sending in to the amplifier itself more signal than it can really handle comfortably, and that's what forces the overdrive. So usually when I'm looking for a good overdrive sound, I max those out, and then if I hear something about the sound that's too much, if it's too bassy or too trebly, I can back off a little bit. So I turn those all the way up. Now virtually every amp that's produced these days has two volume controls. One is labeled volume, okay, and one is labeled gain. Now this amp has another feature called a boost control, which further boosts that input signal, making it more than the amplifier can handle, forcing it to distort. But I'm going to show you. First I'm going to remove the boost. So right now that's turned off. I just took it out. Here's how the gain and the volume work. I'm going to turn the gain all the way off. And once I do that, what I'm working with is the basic standard volume control. And that gives me a clean sound. Okay? Now if I want it to distort, here's what I do. I turn the amp's volume down to about the level I want to hear it at. Okay? So for now, I'm going to keep it pretty soft. That's how loud I want it to be. Now I turn up the gain, and what that does is that keeps forcing the signal higher and higher, overdriving the amp. The amp's going to get a little louder, but not a lot. The overall volume of the amp is going to be controlled by the volume knob, but the distortion is going to be controlled by the gain. So here's what I'll do. Just to show you, I'm going to turn the gain all the way. This is going to be really distorted. Now that's a lot of distortion. It's good if you're playing heavy metal though, okay? Now I'm going to back it down to about the amount that I want, which I think is about in here. That gives me distortion, but it's nice and chunky. It's still clear. It's still defined. All the notes aren't swimming around like they would be if I turned it all the way up. Now the other thing that I had on before was the boost. And the boost is going to give you that little extra burst. To quote Spinal Tap, it's kind of like turning up the volume to 11. Now I push the boost in, it's going to be a little bit more distorted. But it's still got that definition. If I crank the gain all the way, it's going to lose that definition. That's a sound that you might want for some kinds of music, but it loses a lot of the definition. It's hard to hear everything that I'm doing at that kind of distortion level. So that's pretty much it. Now again, I want a clean sound. I'm going to take off the boost. I'm going to take the gain all the way down, and I'm going to put my volume up. That's going to give me a really nice clean sound for what we're about to do.